Another day, another online argument about whether Dungeons and Dragons is the most evil thing ever and whether or not the creators were bad people, blah, blah, blah. One of the big things that came up again was somebody called the Satanic Panic not real and a psyop designed to do something. I don't know. But if you lived during those times, this thing was real. People were not just a little upset about this. This was not a psyop. This was not some media created crazy thing. This was actually people really believed this game was going to cause people to become devil worshippers or something. And thank you to the people over at Alpha Stream. You had a very nice article about it, complete with newspaper clippings about how evangelists, sorry, see game as front for demon worship. There were people on TV who said things like, if you take the dice and throw them in the fire, you'll hear them screaming. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff. All about a game of make believe. There was even a made for TV movie starring Tom Hanks, of all people, long before he was Tom Hanks. He was still Tom Hanks. Called Mazes and Monsters, which I found not that long ago on Fubu or something, one of the free channels you can find it. It's around someplace. But it was sponsored by the products of Procter and Gamble. But a pretty good movie. What they would never say Dungeons and Dragons, but you knew what they were talking about. And they tried to make it out to be crazy that it could cause you to lose your mind because Tom Hanks' character, he kind of wound up in the mind of his character and couldn't get back to being himself. Anyway, crazy, crazy times. And then there's also a post out there by someone who's a Dungeons and Dragons historian who wrote a book a couple of years ago that's an okay book. It's got a lot of decent facts in it, but it's kind of written dry and from a very slanted perspective. Who now is saying that the creators were racist and misogynist, which is an old story that people have been trying to pitch for a while. And I will say this. I've spent a lot of time in my life at art museums. I spent a lot of time reading, especially fiction books and other things. Two people can look at the same piece of art. One of them can be the artist, and they will walk away with two completely different perspectives of what was seen. Two people can read the same book and walk away with two different perspectives of what it really was saying. If you want to see something, you will see it. If you walk in with no preconceived notions, you will see something different. Um, if you want to go in and say, well, these guys were the most evil people ever, don't ever play their game, but play the new game based on the game they were. I don't understand the whole crazy, let's go after the guys that created who are no longer here, and try to find a sentence that we might be able to then take that sentence and somehow twist it to mean something other than what it was, and then have to go spend a lot of time defending that sentence and saying, that's what they really meant. That's because, blah, blah, blah. Or taking one piece of art out of the thousands that were produced to play this game and say, look, that piece of art right there proves my point. But there's hundreds of others you have to ignore that kind of counter your point to really make that. So I get it. People want clicks. People want to say the game is racist. There was no satanic panic. They want to be the one to break the news, right? And then they want to be the one to get all the subscribers and all the clicks because that helps you. And when in reality we're talking about a game that's sort of make believe, right? You get to kind of create a story as you go along. You get to create conflict as you go along. And it's different for every person who plays the game. It's different every time you play the game. That's the cool part about it. Um, and yes, there have been players over the years who have injected those things into the game. There have been players over the years who've walked away from the table because those things were injected into the game. So, if you want to find it, if you want to go out and say, oh, look, this game is evil, this game is bad, the people who create it are evil or bad, uh, it, okay, feel free to say whatever you want, but don't get angry when people look at you and go, okay, have a nice day. And they go right about their day of picking up the game and playing it. I personally have been at this for, off and on most of my life. I started playing when I was 10, give or take, because that's when the Red Box was out, and my dad was the dungeon master, and I've played off and on over the years, and I really do enjoy the game, and I'm not going away. There are other role-playing games out there. Some of those are fun, some of those are not so fun. They're all over social media if you want to pick them out or if you want to, find a way to start and you haven't played before, don't worry about the drama that comes into the whole online discussion. Some people are just people and they're going to say what they're going to say. So if you are someone who is new and want to play the game, there are a number of accounts you can reach out to for help. I'm certainly one of them. I'd be happy to point you in the right direction. I don't have any preconceived notions that Dungeons and Dragons may not be the right game for everybody. Maybe you want to play um, Fallout, which is a post-apocalyptic RPG. Maybe you want to play Gamma World, which is science fiction. Maybe you want to play something else. There's a bunch of them out there. Cthulhu. Oh, you might lose your mind, but that's kind of the point of the game. But there's a bunch of choices, and don't let the online drama that is sort of made up in many cases um, get to you. Just let it go. It's not like that when you start sitting down at a table and playing with people. Hope everybody has a great weekend. And the Satanic Panic was real. It was stupid, but it was real. And the D&D historian out there who's trying to say that the people who created the game were racist and misogynistic is just trying to sell books. So, to more power to him, I guess. But anyway, everybody have a great weekend. Roll the dice, have the fun. Reach out if you're trying to find a table. If you need an extra player, let me know. I might know somebody. And we're going to have a good one here. So talk to you soon.